On this episode of Mike Colameco's Real Food, we're visiting two great little restaurants on the Lower East Side. First stop, Sorella, known for its Piedmontese cuisine.
There is some sugared bacon on top and a fried egg.
Then 2 blocks north to check out the Meatball Shop.
A hero is a work of art. Ooh.
Then back to my kitchen, where we'll build our own meatball hero.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
It's all coming up next. I'm Mike Colameco, chef and food lover. Come with me and meet some of today's most interesting chefs and their crews that work in their kitchens. Real chefs, real restaurants, and real recipes. That's what's on the menu. This is Mike Colameco's Real Food.
So we've got a tire repair shop, neon signs, 99-cent dumplings, Kunji Village across the street, and the back of the Tenement Museum. Welcome to the Lower East Side. I love it down here. And it's here on Allen, just south of Delancey, where two super ambitious, talented young women decided to live their dream. A great little Italian restaurant, great little gelato bar that morphed out of it. Super, super story. I love this stuff. Talented kids, full of ambition, delivering great food. We're here with Euresis, who's the pastry chef at both Sorella and Stellina.
Yes.
And you were at Sorella before, and now that this is open, you actually have this full-blown, fantastic kitchen.
It's awesome.
So congratulations. One of the big focuses is gelato.
Yes.
Everyday fresh gelatos. And today we're going to make what?
Today we're making Giandiotto gelato.
Start us off somewhere.
So our milk goes in along with our sugar. I try not to make it too sweet.
Right.
This is a little bit of hazelnut paste.
Right, and by infusing them now into the milk, we're going to
get even more
create this
flavor.
tea. Great idea.
I'm gonna burr mix the hazelnuts in it, get all that flavor out.
You gotta love those burr mixers, those
Yeah.
submersion things. I don't,
They're
what
awesome.
did people do in the old days? Like grind or something? These things came out in the 80s.
Yes.
Basically, it's this amazing toy with the motors up here, the blades down there. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is get some of this hot milk into the eggs, whisk it to bring that temperature up.
Yep. So now this is nice and warm.
Protein in the eggs are gonna thicken up this milk to create kind of like a little bit of a custard.
Now that our base is ready, we'll strain it, get all the chunks out. We'll put it over ice and cool it down, and then we're ready to spin it. So now I like to, as it's coming out, just swirl in our chocolate fudge.
And that's homemade fudge with hazelnuts in it.
Yep. Yep, it's ready to go.
Do a little tasting.
It's ready to taste. Perfect.
Let's talk about some of your flavors. But you guys have these crazy, like, it's like an Americanified, stir-in, crunchy, humorous. Let's go out front and you talk to me about them. This is like insane. What's Chunky Sorella?
Well, Chunky Sorella was actually the first gelato we created at Sorella. It's a salted caramel gelato with chocolate fudge swirls and chocolate covered pretzels in it.
I mean, I see like not being able to stop eating that. When I was a kid, my grandmother used to call me pazzo, meaning I was crazy nuts. Tell me about this flavor.
Well, pazzo is peanut butter gelato with salted peanut butter just mixed inside of it.
Because the gelato...
Wasn't enough peanuts for me. I just needed some more.
What a great gig. So you like your homework assignments come up with a new gelato every month?
Yeah.
Good girl.
Or when I get bored, one or the other.
So now you know Stellina, probably the dopest gelato in the city that I've ever seen. Crazy, handmade every day, incredible flavors. Thanks for doing the demo.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, we're here in the back of Sorella with Emma Hearst. First of all, thanks for having us, Emma Hearst.
Thanks for having me on.
So you're like the great-great-granddaughter of William Randolph Hearst. You got into cooking like early.
I did. I knew I wanted a restaurant. I was 4 years old.
You had a tortured youth?
No. I always just loved cooking. It's the only thing I've ever done. Instead of playing house when I was little, I would go down in my basement and play restaurant.
How old were you when you graduated the CIA?
I was 19.
Graduated. A kid.
Yeah. This guy we got in here is a little bit of lamb bolognese with mint and pistachios. That's also gonna get finished with butter. We finish everything with butter here, because butter makes everything better, right? It's fried prosciutto cotto.
Beautiful little meaty appetizer. It's got like these prosciutto bits around it, over a salad, beautiful vinaigrette. I think I saw some lemon zest in here. Customer needs it.
Well, I met my business partner, Sarah, at the CIA. We both loved Italian food and wine, and we got some money together and went to Italy just to eat and drink.
So these agnolotti are special agnolotti that you will only find in Piedmont. They're called agnolotti del Plin.
Yeah.
We spent the majority of our time in Piedmont. On our travels, we went and sought out the little old Italian grandmothers that were in their 80s as
kitchen.
chefs of these restaurants that were just phenomenal. Restaurants that had been in the same family for 300 years. Like, insane. We came back like 2 months later and wrote a business plan, and voila.
All right, we're here with Sarah Krathen, the other half of the team. Thanks for having us in today.
Of course.
What got you into cooking?
I started working in restaurants when I was 15 as a barker, if you know what that is, in Key West, where I would stand outside dressed up and hand out flyers to people to try to get them to come into the restaurant.
Wow. So you meet at cooking school, become fast friends.
I moved to the city, took my first job as a manager, and then Emma followed shortly after.
So talk a bit about the wine program.
We met a lot of great people in Italy, and I'd like to work with those kind of wineries. I wanted to do a really unique Italian wine list with smaller, kind of off the beaten path varietals. I find the best thing about Italian wine is that you can't really create too many offensive pairings, because in Italy they create very well-balanced wines.
And when did you get into wine? I mean, this is just part of the culinary, this is
School,
part of the eating.
you know, there's a wine course at the Culinary Institute, but I got into it there, and then during my fellowship I was in the Italian restaurant. As a fellow, I was managing the Italian restaurant, and every 3 weeks we would get new students.
Is that the Catherine de Medici? That's in the
Yes.
Colavita Center,
Yeah, the
on that
Colavita
side.
Center.
Yeah, when I was there, that wasn't there.
Beautiful addition to the campus.
I think one of the things that amazes me most about this place is the fact that it's really run by a couple of, in my mind, just kids that just got it right off like the get-go. Well, we're glad you're here. Thanks for having us in today, and we'll
Thank
be
you so much.
hanging around all night long. Thank you. Thank you.
This is Tyrene. It's a higher egg yolk content. It's all egg yolks.
My grandmother used to make that. She used to do that a la guitarra.
There's a saying that little girls are not ready to be married unless they've mastered the art of making Tyrene. And it's a big thing. Their grandmothers teach them how to make Tyrene when they're like 4 years old. So carne cruda, it's also another traditional Piedmontese dish. It is hand-cut beef rather than like minced up ground meat. The meat actually comes from my family's ranch in California.
That's right. The Hearst makes, you get an amazing ranch in California. And a little bit, what do we have for the salad?
That is some kale
And radish.
radish.
Talk about the food. I mean, Piedmontese style Italian is also pretty big, pretty rich, kind of French in a way.
Yes.
It's a high caste Italian society. Talk about how, through your prism, how you're doing this.
We were absolute nobodies when we opened, so it was very important to us that we stick true to our concept, that we were strictly Piedmontese. And now, as we've gotten a name, I'm able to put some other food on the menu, like with specials and stuff.
This is our probably most popular dish. A chicken liver mousse that's on top of a duck fat English muffin bread that we make in-house. We make everything in-house. There is some sugared bacon on top and a fried egg.
I want one of them now.
You're gonna get one.
Oh, there's the meatball. There's the meatball. There she goes.
Meatball, we deep fried it first, and then we take it out of the deep fryer to get it nice and crisp, and then finish it underneath the salamander with a little cheese on top.
4 cooking methods later,
Yes.
it emerges. What's underneath it, Emma? A little bit
That
of-
is a tomato sauce
Okay.
and some caramelized onions.
Just when I thought I'd had enough meatballs in my life, another meatball.
It's a good meatball.
It's like a liquid-centered meatball. That's freaking dope. That's really, really good. Look at the gooey center, man. Thanks for having us, and we'll be around all day. Thanks.
Cool.
Keep up the great work, man.
Thank you.
Speaking of meatballs, just a few blocks to the north of Sorella on Stanton Street sits a restaurant devoted to a single protein, the meatball. Pork, beef, chicken, vegetarian. It also happens to be run by 2 very young, ambitious fellows who've been best friends since they were kids growing up on Manhattan's Upper East Side.
Dan, talk to me about how you guys met and about this crazy story.
My mother and Dan's mother worked in the same building. He grew up on 87th Street and 2nd Avenue. I grew up on 83rd Street, 1st Avenue. They introduced us. Dan was going to LaGuardia High School. I had gotten into LaGuardia High School.
You know, our mothers are Jewish moms are like, oh, my son, he's going to LaGuardia. You should meet his son, and so they got us together.
We just hit it off.
You're freaking 29 years old, and you just decide to do a meatball thing. Just flesh it out for me.
This restaurant is exactly what he wanted and exactly what I wanted.
I had this crazy concept. I wanted to do something that was very much sit down, eat what the chef is cooking, no menus, no questions, just eat.
I've been working in fancy restaurants and disillusioned with this idea that you have to spend more money for organic or local or natural. But I don't know how you argue to somebody that can't afford to, you know, feed their children that they should go buy organic.
If I come here and I want like a meatball dinner, what's it gonna cost?
The most expensive item on the menu is $9. If you come in here with a date and you spend $40 for dinner and drinks, I will be impressed because you'll have overeaten.
Right.
And you'll be drunk.
So we were like, you know, what can we feed these guys that's cheap, inexpensive, and delicious?
Michael, who, you know, he was working at a restaurant in the East Village, and they had their signature dish was rigatoni ragu. He basically would order rigatoni ragu, hold the pasta every single night. So he'd have just this sauce with the meatballs, and he would order spinach and broccoli and dip it in. And Mike and I were sitting in Whole Foods on Stanton Street, and he was like, you know, why don't we just do a meatball shop?
We both kind of just looked at each other and we were like, meatballs, let's do it.
We're here with Chef Scotty. Thanks for letting us in. Is there ever a slow moment?
No, pretty much the time we open the doors until the time we close them.
You have how many types of meatballs on the menu? 5, 6?
5.
5. How many meatballs a day, roughly, are you guys cranking
We're
out?
roughly cranking out somewhere between 1,500 to 2,000 a day.
Non-stop meatball production.
Yeah.
And you can see my boys here on this side. They go from the sheet pans, parchment paper, into the convection oven.
Into the convection oven, yep.
Segundo. Number 1 guy. Yeah. Place runs because of him.
He might be, his name might be Segundo, but to us, he's Primo.
Primo. Numero uno. Yeah, he's the man. Yet another unsung hero here, bro.
All of our bread comes from a guy in the Bronx. We did the most research in this whole restaurant came from which bread we were going to choose.
Which guy?
Il Forno, a guy named Ramon. We went to every single bakery in the city, all of them. And they would send their PR representative with a bag of bread, or they would invite us to come down and tour their facility. This guy showed up at Mike's house, 8 flights of stairs, with 1 loaf of every single bread that he bakes in 2 giant shopping bags.
Like old school, like old school. Yeah. And if you got a place like this where it's simple, you kind of need all the ingredients to be good. You can't have a weak link.
You cannot.
It's meatballs, it's bread, it's sauce.
It turned out to be, you know, exactly what it is now, which is a really special
Which is
place.
this cool thing, because you're 30 years old, you're like living the dream, you pulled this rabbit out of the hat. Yeah, knock on wood, and there's plans. So we can talk about this, it's going to open soon. Another meatball shop in Williamsburg.
Bedford Avenue between North 7th and North 8th.
You know, more success, man.
Thanks so much for
Does your
coming
wife ever
in.
get to see you?
It's a tough balance, man.
Again, thank you.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot.
Keep up the great work. I'm going to have my first meatball.
We're going to make
Yeah.
a meatball. Start to soup to nuts.
You can?
All right. Very excited. Soup to nuts.
All right.
Scotty, we're going to make meatballs. This is our simplest meatball.
Simplest.
I mean, the other meatballs have a few more ingredients. This is actually the simplest one. 2-ounce scoop yellow handle. Easiest way to make it consistent and, you know, save yourself some time. We tried a bunch of different ways to cook the meatballs, you know, and what we came to was there's really no best decision to make there. You can roast them, you can fry them, you can pan sear them.
You know what?
You can braise them.
I remember all my life I seared them in a pan. And then one day I was visiting a good chef friend of mine, Italian guy, who was rolling out meatballs just like we are now, and just dropped them into a simmering tomato sauce.
That's awesome.
Dude, can I tell you what? I'm like, you're crazy. You're not calling me, says Michael.
Super
Come
good.
back in an hour, and I tasted them, and I'm like, I am a convert. I hate to say this. This is what Segundo did before us. Up to, I can tell you exactly where, like up to around here. They're all perfectly shaped, they're really smooth, then suddenly you have this.
Completely lopsided meat.
Segundo.
The meat.
What's up?
We would have had to open the
Say
meatball
feo,
shop.
Feo, muy feo.
But they're going to taste just as delicious.
Or I'll let you pop them in
I'm
the
going to pop
oven.
these guys in the oven.
Cool. Shoo. You got room?
That's
Yeah.
awesome. These things roast.
And Segundo's
What we're doing.
pastry chef at the moment?
Apparently, he's taking a sabbatical from meatballs. Everything is in ball shape when he's finished with it, though. Even the ice cream. My partner and I both kind of have a sweet tooth. Ice cream sandwiches,
classic.
Our
man.
favorite thing in the world. We make all of our ice cream every day, 5 different types of ice cream, all of our cookies every day, 5 different types of cookies. And basically the idea is we encourage people to go crazy and mix and match. What are you in the mood for?
Dude, it's like overwhelming. Whatever you think, I mean, they all sound ridiculous.
I want you to taste the mint ice cream.
How are we eating it? We're picking it up and just doing a demolish
it's a
job on it?
sandwich. Just get it.
Come
Unless
on.
you don't want it.
No, this is not dainty food. This is,
It's a sandwich. Ice cream
sorry
sandwich.
if this gets ugly. There's only one way to do this. Apply as directed. I'm impressed, man. All right, let's do a cheddar. Let's do a cheddar cheese thing.
Chili it's like the epiphany of American deliciousness. We have actual chili that we formed into a meatball with raw pork to bind and beef to bind it, with black beans in the center.
What's this crazy cheese? What is this?
So somehow Scotty was able to take Grafton, like top quality
Grafton cheddar, I know
cheddar
it real well.
cheese, and turn it into something that tastes exactly like Velveeta. It was a miracle.
Scotty, you're a genius.
He's taken something, an artisanal product, and made it particularly delicious. So this is for you to please try.
So we've got the chili cheese, we got Grafton, Vermont, fantastic cheddar. Look at the inside of that, man. Looks like freaking chili.
You wouldn't want to eat this every day of your life,
I don't know.
although
I don't know. I don't know. Having not had this, I'm thinking you may be wrong. Ridiculously good.
I guess that for me, the fun of the Meatball Shop is that there are no rules, there's no cuisine, there's
no
no
restriction.
pretension. You can we come here to have a good time and it tastes good.
This is insane, man.
Just no balsamic vinegar. My only rule. No balsamic.
You gotta have a rule.
Yeah.
All right.
never.
Hey, Meatball Shop, man. That place is too epically cool. And I love your story. I mean, 2 guys, bar mitzvah buddies, friends since 13, 14 years old, kicking it around. Talk to me, because we're gonna make one of the meatballs on your menu today. Walk me through it.
I guess we were going to make the pork meatballs today.
You got your great meat from La Freitas.
One of the great parts about grinding your meat yourself is that you can add your flavoring components and your seasoning to it. So we've got these hot peppers.
I like spicy. Grinding the peppers right into the meat.
And then the other thing is, for the pork meatballs, one of our secrets to their texture is using fresh bread rather than breadcrumbs.
Will you drop some in?
So yeah, you can just drop those right in and those will grind right away with the meat.
Because it gives you moisture, gives you fill, gives it a little binding agent. It does a whole lot of stuff.
And the next step
Is it gonna be eggs?
is going to be eggs. Yeah, absolutely.
But you can see how it comes together. It was a little loose before, it was a little wet. Now it's kind of holding that shape when you go flip it.
It's important to leave some moisture in there.
All right, I got a plate. Ready
All
to
right,
roll?
you rock and roll?
How's this for size?
I think that you have a very small balls.
I knew he was gonna say it. I knew I was setting myself up for that. All right.
Even after, some 100,000 meatballs that I've gotten to roll so far, I still actually love
Yeah.
the fun.
Because you and I cook. This is what we did all our lives. They look good. This isn't
They
bad
do
for-
look good.
All right.
And I actually like them a little bit rustic. I like the little,
Wash my hands. I'll meet you at the stove.
All right.
We're not gonna need a lot of oil, but we don't want these things sticking because we have some fat in there. You like that? That's cool enough.
That looks great to me.
All right.
So
I'll do this while you talk. So I'm gonna.
So you're sliding the meatballs in carefully because we don't want to
We don't want them to stick
incur
to
any
each other.
injuries. Tomato sauce is simmering away.
We're gonna crank it. We're gonna get this pan screaming hot and go in the oven with the screaming hot pan. 8 minutes from now, we're gonna take it out. Give it a.
Flip it over.
Yep. Back in.
And then back in the oven. They'll sear and roast simultaneously.
All right, in they go.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'll open the oven door carefully.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm liking those, actually.
liking those.
I like the way the peppers kind of really, blossom.
And you can see
Blooming
that.
flowers.
So we know they've cooked from the pan. We can also see they've cooked from the top.
Oh, look at that. They're absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And they're so close to being done now because all that oven heat was sort of dumping in the top as well. So let's go in for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
That's it.
or even just on the stovetop for a second. They're just ready to rock and roll. Just right in the oven for
All right.
2 minutes, right?
Oven for 2 minutes. I'm thinking.
Yeah, they're
2
great.
minutes.
That is so delicious. While we're doing that, should we get the
Some
heroes
bread?
ready to go and
Yes.
slice it and
Yes.
do it?
Yeah. You talked about this. You picked this guy up in the Bronx. I mean, look at this. First of all, that sound crazy. I mean, look at the inside of this bread too. It just has this beautiful crumb, beautiful sheen, nice, relatively slow fermentation.
I like to toast these off a little bit before the meatballs, personally, because when you put the meatballs in the sauce, I mean, the bread tends to get really soggy really fast. So a little bit of crisp.
All right,
Just
a
do
little
two?
olive oil. Just gonna
Oh, yeah.
drizzle it. All right. So Meatballs have been in for 2 minutes. We're just gonna let them finish here. In the meantime, you gave us the brilliant idea. We're gonna turn this thing to broil. Get that super hot on the top. We're gonna put the rolls in.
Toast them.
Toast them.
And then we'll put the meatballs, the sauce, the cheese, and then use the same broiler to melt the cheese. Perfect.
I love it. This is real cooking. All right. I think
Wow,
I
that
like
looks
'em. I
perfect.
think I like 'em.
That looks perfect.
All right, we're gonna leave
Wow,
that
looks
broiler
great.
on.
If you want to be super crazy about it like me, I put all the sauce right down the center, and then when I put the meatballs on the hero bread,
It does its own
displaces it. A hero is a work of art.
You have the Meatball Shop. Who's gonna question your authority?
The worst part about a sandwich is that first bite,
That stuff squirts out.
stuff squirts out.
Right.
A little crush kind of gets the meatballs to fit the entire thing like that. And then I put cheese over the sauce on the other piece of bread because otherwise the edges of the bread get burned. So we do like this, yeah. So that is gonna make a really delicious hero.
I got bubbling cheese, brother. I think the bubbling cheese moment has arrived. Check that out.
Look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm flipping the cheese, melted cheese lid on top of this thing. If you've done well, the bread will still have some crisp to it.
Timeless classic.
It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, what culture you've come from. They have a meatball hero that you've eaten and you loved.
This is not going to be delicate. There's no way we're going to do this, and we're going to. This isn't in the Emily Post.
I
book
believe
of
that I will
how
look
to
elegant.
how to elegantly bite a meatball stuff. But
They say you're supposed to take small bites
yeah,
for television,
yeah,
so you don't embarrass yourself.
yeah. I've been taking big bites for 10 years and talking with food in my mouth, and stuff flies around. Whatever. It's delicious. It's food. It's supposed to be pleasure. Well, so a year ago, you guys opened. You're killing them downtown. Williamsburg in the pipeline. Going to be open any day.
Hopefully very soon.
West Village.
West Village, end of the summer.
It's an empire, brother.
We're going to go from a meatball shop to a small meatball army.
The Meatball Shop. I love it. Thank you. Thanks for coming to bail me
I
out.
really
Delicious.
appreciate it.
And we're just going to end the show by taking another bite of meatballs.
I wasn't going to stop.
No, we're not stopping. It's warm. It's delicious. It's gooey. The mozzarella's still hot.
Oh, very delicious. I'm shocked.
See you next week. Thanks.
you.